I'm gonna say something every smart person is gonna agree with. Time is money. So whether you're a startup e-com brand or a Fortune 500 company, speed of execution is always a competitive advantage. So that's why today I'm gonna show you how to stop wasting time with your email marketing by cutting the time it takes for you to create a high converting email in half, so that you can crush your competitors with speed. How are we gonna do that exactly? By leveraging the 5 phases of creating email templates. Starting with phase 1, understanding how email templates make you money. So this could be explained with 2 simple equations. The first one is the productivity equation, which equals output divided by time. Every business owner wants more productivity. In other words, you want to do more in less time, and email templates help you do that. It increases productivity by getting more emails done in less time, which means more productivity equals more volume of emails that you're able to create, which means more tests that you can actually run, which is going to lead to more results in terms of data of what works, and thus more reiterations that you can do, which is ultimately going to lead to more revenue or more profit for your brand at the end of the day. And as a bonus, since all of this is done in less time, you actually have leftover spare time to spend on other things that you want, whether that's spending time with your kids, doing more revenue generating activities, or simply cutting costs on labor because one person is able to do the productivity of 3. And so the e-com brands that don't understand this is going to get left behind because they're not going to be able to compete with the brands that do understand this and leverage this, because the brands that do simply get so much more done per unit of time. Once you understand the importance of email templates, you move on to the next phase, which is phase 2, know your end goal. In other words, what are you actually looking to create here, and what does the finish line actually look like? And in order for me to show you that, you need to understand the content sandwich method to creating emails. And so this is the fastest and easiest way to create high converting emails. And that is to see each email that you create as different content blocks stacked on top of each other. Very similar to making a sandwich, right? And so the top will always be the hero block and the bottom will always be the footer block. But whatever you put in the middle of your email will depend on the type of email that you want to send. So you can put a benefit highlight block, a product display block, or a testimonial block, or a message block. And so these are all the different blocks that you can mix and match to create different emails. And so the end goal that you're trying to create here regarding your templates is to have multiple templates for every single one of these blocks right here. And the reason for that is because as business owners, we want repeatable systems. The last thing we want here is to make this whole process of creating emails some sort of creative, unique experience. We're not trying to create a one-of-a-kind art piece here. Our end goal here is to actually generate more profit and revenue with our email marketing, right? And so we can break this down step by step. If that's the end goal, what is the input that we need to do in order to get this output of more revenue and profit with email marketing? Well, our input for that is to create emails that are high converting and sell. And so what is the input for that? The input for that is a repeatable system that you can repeat over and over again to predictably generate emails that sell. And that's not going to happen if you're treating this as if it's some sort of creative experience that you're trying to create. It's not. As a business owner, this whole thing should be a repeatable, lean system. And the only way for do that is to leverage these assets right here in terms of templates within each of these different content blocks. Because if you have a bunch of assets, a bunch of templates in each of these content blocks, then you just mix and match them. And then your designer adds whatever creativity that they can, and you're going to be able to repeatedly create emails that sell, which is actually going to transform your email marketing to the next level. Which brings me on to the next phase, which is fishing for inspiration. So this next phase is going to look at where are you actually finding the inspiration to create and base the templates of. And so there are 3 different ways that I find inspiration. The first one is in my inbox. I create another email just for this. And then I would just subscribe to multiple e-com brands that I like, or I think they're doing a good job. And I would just look at their emails. And if I see anything I like, I just screenshot or I download the whole email, and you can create the templates off that way. Another one is your past emails, right? And so if you're an e-com brand, you probably have emails that are really high performing in the past. Go take those emails and turn them into templates. They're already proven to work for your specific customers. Let's just repeat that over and over again. And then the next way is for you to actually look at different brands using these websites right here. Reallygoodemails.com, emailinspired.com, milk.com. You could use and leverage these websites to find the inspiration that you need. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just what this kind of website looks like. And so you can get an idea in terms of what you're actually looking for in this case. Cool. So we're in reallygoodemails.com right here. And as you can see, you can filter it regarding these as well. or you could just scroll down like this and see if anything catches your eye. What you're looking for is emails on whatever content blocks that you want to create. So if you want specific templates for your product section, then go look at emails that have products, right? That they're displaying their products. Click into it like this and you can see, oh, do I like this? Will this fit my brand? And then you can just screenshot it or download it or drag it to your desktop and then put it into Figma that way. And so I think this is pretty cool right here. This is pretty cool as well. And then you can go down, see what actually inspires you, put it into Figma, and then you're going to move on to the next phase right here. The next phase is phase 4, which is turning inspiration into assets. Within this phase, I'm actually going to create assets so you can actually see live what this whole process actually looks like. These are the different email inspirations that I like right here. You don't need to take in the entire email. You could just drag in the specific or screenshot the specific content blocks that you actually like. And so these are the different content blocks that today in this video we're going to be turning into templates. Flash forward to the end, you're actually going to get these templates as well, so stay tuned to that. And so what we're going to do, we're going to take every single one of these pieces and turn them into templates right now. So this product display block right here is going to be the first thing that we turn into a template, and then we're just going to work our way down here. And although this might seem a lot, I just want to say this before we actually start, is that you're going to be surprised as to how fast this process actually works. And my favorite part about this whole thing is probably the cost to reward ratio. It's just so high. It takes very little cost in terms of time and actually energy to create these templates, but the reward is just so high because you could reuse this over and over and over again. And especially once you have enough of these, it just makes this whole process so much easier. Let's start creating these actual templates. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a frame, and I'm gonna make sure it matches the dimensions of our email, which for me is 600 right here. And then you can make this as long as you want. And then I'm going to make this no fill, so that is clear, and then we can rename it. Cool. Then after that, you're going to get a rectangle and make a whole background like this. Because it's a template, you can make it your brand colors or whatever. But for me as an email marketer, obviously our clients have different brand colors, and so I'm always going to make this some sort of very neutral black and whitish color. And then the next step is to add your little subheadlines right here. And so for me, again, the font doesn't matter because we're going to reuse this for multiple clients. But for you, what you can do is just use everything that matches your brand. So your brand fonts, your brand colors, and that's just going to save you more time. Add your little product name. So put your body copy here, bam. And then the next part is to add your little CTA button. Shop now. I'm going to add another rectangle. You can change the corner radius to whatever fits your brand. Then I'm going to change this. Be the same color as the background. Doesn't stand out as much, but the fact that it's matching the background is more important to me. And then you have this little circle with the product picture. And so we can copy that. You're just going to put it here and create a rectangle. Bam. So that's what it would look like, and label these as well. So this could be circle background, right? Because you always want to label these and stay organized. And then this could be product image. And then you can group this together and say product 1, body copy, bam. And then you can organize this whole thing to group, and then you could say product 1, and then you could just copy this and repeat it throughout this whole thing. Bam. Make sure it aligns. And then this is going to be product 1, product 2, product 3. I like to have 3 products, not 4. And so I'm just going to make this whole section shorter. All I'm going to do is just label this. So product image. And bam, we just finished our first template. It took us very little time, as you can see, and we're going to be using this template indefinitely into the future. And all you have to do to use it is just change the colors here, change the font, change the copy, and replace the product image with your product image. And it's as simple as that. And if you're creating it for your brand, you should already be creating with your brand fonts, brand colors, and everything. So that process is going to be even more simpler. So let's move on to the next section. What we're going to do is we're just going to make the frame, and we're going to repeat all the same steps. So we're going to make it fill, bam, and then we're going to change this to hero block. Add your backgrounds first. Make sure that this aligns with your emails. And so in this part, we want 2 backgrounds like so. And then we're going to have another rectangle product image and put that on the top. And then afterwards, put your headline here. Bam. Change this to your sub headline font, whatever that is. And then as always, you want to create your shop now button. And bam, just like that, our hero block template is already done. So now we're just going to move on to the next section right here. So we're going to start off with the frame again. We can label this message block, add your background, add your text, And then you can add these little rectangles. And then you can label these as well. So I would just label it benefit 1, benefit 2, etc. And then the last part is to make all of these little rectangles to have a stroke instead. And then you can make these texts white as well. And just like that, our template here is done. And so the last thing to do here would just to be organize every single one of these rectangles to its respective benefit, and that would be done deal. And bam, just like that, another template is done. And as you can see down on this layer section, it is completely organized. And now we're just going to sprint through to this other next template. You already know the deal. Frame 600, clear this fill, and then replace it with a rectangle that serves as the background picture. And then we're just gonna work our way towards each single element of this email once again. So I'm just gonna duplicate this. You can even just drag it like this and base it off how big this other email actually is. And you can make the templates this way as well. Drag it back in here, center it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create all these different elements down here. And then here we would just be changing the corner radius to make it look like it's a search bar. Just copy that. Bam, to me that looks good. And then all we're going to do is just drag this in here. And then all we need is this product picture, add the CTA button and the text alongside these small little icons over here. And bam, our benefit highlight block template is complete. As you can see, I added a little more detail. I made everything match. And then afterwards, I added a little gradient in this inner frame right here, just to remind myself that we want some sort of image background right here, just to make this product image stand out more. And that's pretty much it for this section right here. And for this email, actually, now we're going to move on to these emails and just create these little sections right here very quickly as well. Cool. So same very easy process. We make a frame, we get rid of the fill, and then we add our background. In this case, this background itself also has some sort of patterns on it. And then just to remind myself, I'm going to make this into a gradient. And then we can start building our template, starting with this outline right here, this fill 0. We can change the size to match, easy, just like that. And then what we're going to do is we can add a line right in the middle. In this section right here, I'm just going to build it on top of this template. And then you can actually see how we can transfer it. Product 1 intro, change the fonts to however you want. Bam, change this to product 2 intro. Change this to emoji and benefit. And then we're just going to copy and paste this. And then afterwards, you can group this, product 1 benefits. Group this, product 2 benefits. And then the only thing we're missing right now is our picture. So we're going to add that. And then we're going to select all of this. And all we're going to do is just drag it in here. Bam. And then we're going to create our CTA button. Awesome. So our benefit highlight template is already completed for whatever products you want to display right here and kind of highlight within your email. And so just for the sake of time, we're just going to skim through these ones really quick, because I think you already get what this whole process kind of looks like. And I think you already understand how you could be implementing this for your own brand. Bam. I just finished turning our last email inspiration into a template right here. As you can see, we got the gradient in the background flowing throughout this whole product display block. We have the individual product displays, same style and everything with its own individual shop now button. A few things that I want to point out, especially for this product display block, is one, having your own specific CTA button for each individual product. This is going to help you optimize and boost your conversions in your email. And that's because it's a better customer experience. At the end of the day, our job as email marketers is to make this whole shopping experience as frictionless as possible for your customers. And so a way we do that is by having an individual specific shop now button, so that if a customer is reading this and they're like, wow, I really like Elevate, in this case, product 1, let's just click into this and buy that right away. Instead of having to go back to your website, search throughout that whole thing, just take them right to the product. And then the second thing that I want to point out is that once you repeat that, you want a shop general CTA right here. And so I'm actually going to change this to shop bundle. You want to have a little last call to action copy section right here in case they want to shop this whole bundle or shop your bestsellers. That's going to wrap up phase 4, turning inspiration into assets. Just did a live tutorial or a live walkthrough of this whole process of what it actually looks like creating all of these templates. And the last thing that we need to actually do now is phase number 5, which is storing the assets themselves. Congratulations on making it to the last and final phase of creating email templates. This phase is the most rewarding in my opinion because we get to combine our newly created email templates, which look absolutely beautiful and stunning, with our family of pre-existing email templates which we've already created. But if you have not created them, this is how you get started in a couple steps. First, go to Figma. 2, go up here and create an individual page. Label it design assets or email templates, whatever floats your boat. And 3, what you're going to do is create different sections like so for organizing your email templates into. And so the sections are going to correspond to this little content sandwich right here. And once you organize those like so, and you're just going to make your way down the list, then you can start organizing whatever templates you make into each respective block. And every time you create emails in the future, you're going to have a lean, repeatable process that your designers are going to have to go through, and it's going to save them a lot of time. It's going to increase their productivity a ton. And then you can sit back, put your legs up, and enjoy as you watch your email marketing bring in more revenue every single month. All because you started leveraging email templates. So congratulations. And that is going to wrap up the 5 phases of creating email templates. By the way, if you want access to all of these email templates right here in a Figma file you can edit, plus a full guide on everything you need to know to predictably create high converting e-commerce emails, click the link in the description below. It took me over 100+ hours to make, but for you, it's 100% free. Check it out below. I think you'll love it. And as always, I'm rooting for you. Always take action, and peace.